everybody. So by this time in the semester, you should have already turned in your first draft of one of your essays. So we're going to go over how to give helpful feedback and then also where you can find my written comments so that you can get all of the feedback that you need to start revising your essays. So some general guidelines. We want to make sure that we're doing these things here. You want to be positive because remember that drafts are difficult for everybody. So even though we are looking for the flaws and places that our group mates and our peers can revise things and make them better, we want to give like constructive criticism, right? Be tactful, which is basically just being polite. So you don't want to tell somebody that their essay is trash. Instead, you might want to say, here's something that's going well, but also, you might want to revise this other part. Try to be specific. So we want to give specific feedback, like your thesis is unclear rather than your essay is confusing, because that way we can give our peers something specific and somewhere that they can go and revise so that they know how to fix the issue that we've identified. Be involved. You're getting some, feedback from your peers, so it's only fair that you're also doing your fair share and giving somebody else that feedback as well. Remember to look at big picture issues. We want to make sure that we are revising in ways that are going to help the whole essay, right? So revising something like a thesis statement or topic sentences is going to give you a lot more of a boost in your grade overall than focusing on small things like grammar. And then be thorough. Make sure that you're reading your peers' full essay and giving feedback in all of the places that you're able to. So being positive and tactful, remember that the end goal is to make the essay better. So we want our peers to take our feedback rather than just feel insulted and not want to fix anything, right? It's difficult to share your first drafts with other people, as I'm sure everybody can understand, because our first drafts are not, always something that we're super proud of, and you might be nervous. So try to make sure that you're positive and, nice when you're giving the feedback that you're giving. So again, we want to be honest, but we want to be honest in a way that's helpful. So we've got an example on the next slide. And this is from a rhetorical analysis essay. So this person started off the paragraph with a quote from Man in the Mirror saying that it uses logos, and then goes on to say, this is quoted from the student essay. That's why it's in quotes. So we've got a topic sentence here about logos, and then we have a signal phrase, a quote from the song, and then a citation. And then some description here where the person writing the essay is explaining how this is an example of logos. So there's our sample. Some constructive criticism that we could give here would be that the previous slide, so this example that we looked at, used a great quote and was specific in its claims. So if we look back, the claim was that this song uses logos. So that's a great specific claim. Also, something that's going well is we have that signal phrase, a short quote, and the citation. So we're starting off by telling our partner or our peer some things that are going well, right? That kind of softens the blow of here's something to work on. So then we get into the part where here's something that you can do to make it even better. So it could be improved by adding more explanation and making sure to stay on topic and cite an MLA. So it always helps if you can say something positive about what's going on and then follow that with, what still needs improvement. So that's constructive criticism. We're still saying what needs help in this example, but we're doing it in a nice way that's going to help our partner or our peer be open to that feedback and not feel like everything I did was bad, right? Because remember that they've been working hard on this draft. So we want to find those places where things are going right and give them like a pat on the back for that. Good job here, and then improve this. Being specific and being involved. So the idea here is that we want to put in as much effort into our peer workshops as you would expect for me to put in when I'm providing my feedback. So remember that I do have literally hundreds of students, and I take the time to read each essay individually and give you guys that written feedback. Because in my experience, it's been really helpful for my students to know that, yes, I read the whole thing, and yes, I give you individually feedback about what's going well and what I would like you to improve on. So although I can't write, paragraphs and paragraphs for each person because I have so many students, you're only being asked to talk to and read, just a couple of your peers' essays. So you want to make sure that you're putting in some effort and, read through their essay and find some places where they can specifically make things better, because they would do the same for you, right? And because I'm doing the same for you. So do make sure that you're being involved, and then be specific rather than general or vague. So for example, this is another excerpt from a student essay. And this is also from, it looks like, a rhetorical analysis essay. So depending on which class you're in, you may or may not be writing a rhetorical analysis essay, but what's happening in this paragraph is that they're analyzing how the author uses rhetoric. So if I read this over and I was giving some, vague kind of inattentive feedback, I might say, oh, you're using commas wrong, because that's an easy thing to spot. And I can just say, okay, look, I read over this, boom, there's a comma that's misused. That's what I can say. But instead, what we want to do is respond in a more engaged and specific way. So you could talk to your peer, and whether that's on chat or however you guys are doing it, or if you're just making, some comments, instead of just saying you're using commas wrong, we could look at more specific things like, you have a good topic sentence here because we're saying something specific, that the author is using diction, which is just word choice, to help translate her message to her listeners. And then we also have a nice signal phrase here, and then it's cited in MLA. And then we have some explanation of what the quote means. So if I take the time to read through this, I can point out some things that are going well, and then I could also point out some things that need work. Like, for example, this paragraph is a little bit unfocused because it talks about a couple of different places. Oh, sorry, my dogs are barking. It talks about a couple of different types of rhetoric, right? So, and we want to make sure that we stay on topic. So I might say, instead of just saying you're using commas wrong, I could say you're doing well with your topic sentence, and I like how you use quotes, but your description or your explanation section is a little bit off topic because you're talking about a couple of different things rather than one specific idea. So stay on topic in your paragraphs. And that's a lot more specific and shows that I'm really paying attention, right? So try to be specific. So for example, on the previous slide, I might say, make sure to stay on topic. This paragraph talks about 2 different topics rather than just mentioning comma use. Another thing that we want to focus on is global revisions. Sorry, my dogs are determined to interrupt our lecture this morning. So make sure that your comments focus on major flaws like a thesis statement, a topic sentence, evidence, cohesion. These are things that in your final draft of your essay are going to be worth a lot more points than just small things like grammar. So you want to focus on those sort of big picture issues, which we refer to as global revisions. Be thorough, and reading the entire thing is important. After you've looked for all of those global revisions, then you can move on to those sentence level errors. But the global revisions are things that are going to get you a lot more points on the final draft. So focus on those things because we want to make sure that we're revising in a way that we get the most bang for our buck, right? If you revise your thesis statement, for example, you might make sure that you're earning 10 or 15 points, whereas if you focus on revising the grammar in the whole essay, that's a lot more time consuming and you're still only earning maybe 10 points there. So look at those big picture issues and then the small sentence level stuff like grammar. And then also you want to make sure that your peer understands what the problem is and how to revise. So pointing out problems in the essay is kind of easy, but giving them some hints and some help about how to revise, like revise your thesis by making it more specific, or revise your topic sentences by making sure that each one states a claim. That gives your partner some information about how do I fix this problem rather than just saying your topic sentences are bad or your thesis needs work, right? Another thing that you need to work on by this point is to make sure that you know how to find my comments. So as I mentioned before, I do read through and grade and give everybody comments on their drafts of their essays. So to find those comments, you're going to go to Canvas, Grades, and then find your essay draft discussion grade, and then you can see the comments that I gave you there. And then read through those, revise as needed. If those comments don't really make sense or you want to talk about them or you need some clarification, you have a couple of options. You can see me during office hours. I can meet with you on Zoom, and there's information about that in the syllabus, as well as you can contact me on Remind to set a Zoom meeting time. You can also see a tutor. So remember that we have online tutoring available for free, and that's always a great option. You can chat with people from your group. So all of these are ways that you can get help with those comments and kind of some more direction on how to apply those. If you're not sure how to find those comments or if this isn't working for you, you can click on this link and it takes you through step by step exactly how to access those. Okay, so a quick recap about feedback. Sorry, my dogs are going nuts this morning. Number one, make sure that you read the comments from me by going to your essay draft discussion. Get and give feedback on your peer's essay by reading and commenting on their essay. And then make sure that you do this last step, which is the most important, revise as needed. Okay, let me know if you have questions, get to those revision steps, and then make sure to turn in your final draft on time on Canvas.